Hey folks, Sanjiv Handa, longtime Oakland journalist. Sanjiv, what do you think about what's happened with Occupy Oakland and the way the mayor and the city have handled it?
Well, it's interesting. It got out of hand from the get-go. They started with a protest. It was fine, but there was no engagement. The city, through the mayor, simply ignored the protesters.
Oh, so wait a minute. They lie. Are they lying when they say that the protesters didn't want to go negotiate with them?
No.
That's the message they put out in a press release.
I think that was later. Early on, there was some press about how Team Kwan had come and marched with them and all that.
Right.
And they denied it. They said she never engaged them, she never came out. Can't get a comment from her. She's been hiding the last week and a half. That's unfortunate for somebody who said she was going to be accessible all the time. And so it's created this dynamic where you got 3 or 4 competing factions. You had the people who were part of the Occupy Oakland movement. You had the unions that recognized that this is the way to their agenda.
Right.
So the Oakland Education Association, the teachers union came out, the SEIU 1021 came out, they rented the porta potties, they provided them other supplies. That's what got this game lit.
Right.
They didn't have the money. And then by the 3rd day, people were turning over donations of food and drink and all of that. And it started to really get out of hand when people from throughout the greater Northern California area and even Oregon and Washington, I talked to people, showed up.
Jesus. Andrew Breitbart had a guy here, the conservative blogger, and I think he was a local reporter that was stirring things up because he's the guy, one of his people is the guy that got bit by the dog because I was told by Twitter that he was sticking his camera in the tents, private tents.
Yeah. And that's exactly what the protesters said, or the occupiers said. The reporter was too aggressive. And so they circled around him, the dog bit him on the arm. He called the police, and 20-some police cars responded.
That guy was a Breitbart plant. That was intentional. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
And so they pulled up on the far side of 14th Street. The protesters immediately jumped out, go home. And so you had the 2 lines, and then after a few minutes it died down.
Wow.
But it was interesting because you got a mix. There were people who didn't mind the media being here. There were those who said, oh no, I don't want any cameras. Like, fine, we won't take pictures here. But, the signs that were here, my favorite, if Robin Hood was no lobbyist, direct action gets results. I'm going to send that to every lobbyist. So that was hilarious.
That's a good one.
And then they had a number of others. So, but, that was a really interesting one. And then the other thing that was really significant was, I think the 3rd or 4th day they said we're going to rededicate this. It's no longer Frank-Agala Plaza. It's off for Grand Plaza. So they did little cardboard cutouts. They went out and pasted Oscar Grand Plaza on all of the signs that said Frank-Agala Plaza. And put up a big sign, welcome to Oscar Grand Plaza, dedicated 2011. And that seemed to have some momentum. Just interesting and ironically, Oscar Grant's uncle, TJ, Uncle Bobby, got married last weekend. Over at Jeffrey's, and then the reception was over at Everett Jones. Jacqueline Square.
Really like that.
And he married Sister Beatrice's ex. Right?
Yeah.
And so it was interesting watching all these people who have had the interaction over the time, come together for funniness.
Right.
And then the other thing you have is that a lot of the people.
Oh, hey, man, you're here today.
Okay.
Who are you folks here with today?
Oh, I'm East Bay News Service.
Hey.
Okay. Press is actually behind the barriers, folks.
Where is the barrier?
Which one of us started voting? I went through.
Okay. I'll talk to him.
I came out of the rotunda, so I had a meeting over there.
I'll go check with him. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they checked with the city manager about that thing.
Yeah. So anyway, you're saying.
Anyway, the upshot is that with all the stuff they've got going on at this point, they're saying they're going to keep coming back day after day after day. So when they saw at 1 o'clock the police barricades were still up, they ended up moving everybody to the libraries. That's where the protest is at 4. And if they come back tomorrow, the moment they pull these barricades, they're all going to come back. So this probably means for the next at least 2 or 3 days, or until the rains come in early November, this is going to be an ugly situation. They had 450 to 500 cops, at least 11 jurisdictions.
Has anyone done an estimate of what that's costing the taxpayer?
What we don't know is if they have to pay for mutual aid. But figure easy $80 an hour or more per cop. Right there, if you're paying
probably
for
double overtime, right?
They don't ever get double, they get time and a half.
Okay.
But that would still be, and overtime is probably like $120, $130 an hour.
Right.
and 10-hour shifts, I think is what they were doing. So CHP just came in, they're the relief, because they were not here this morning. Everybody said, where's CHP?
Yeah.
So they were on the second team that was arriving so that the first team could go home. The first shift, I should say, not a first
How do we
team.
get out of all this? Is all this worth it? I mean...
That's the interesting question. I mean, I think the idea here was that the Occupy movement spread so quickly, like wildfire. Oakland and Frank Agawa never imagined this is what would happen here when they spent $200 million on this marble palace.
And look at it now.
Yeah.
And look at it now. It's like it looks like a biohazard. Like you guys got the. It's just fascinating. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And so 5 o'clock this morning, the protest has been cleared out. The place is in shambles, and they ended up with approximately 30 public works employees. 18 workers, 10 from the custodians immediately pitched in, started cleaning up. You still have 300, 400 cops there. They started deploying them and releasing some of them.
Wow.
Hayward police showed up with a full battalion, mini tank, special units. They've got that kind of equipment.
Yeah, some guy said they bought a scanner, and then somebody else said it wasn't. What was it called? Not a scanner. It's a sound cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they? Okay, it was true. Okay.
Yeah, they had 4 or 5 specialized pieces of equipment right in front of City Hall.
Okay.
And it was so confusing because city employees didn't know what to do. So they were eventually sent an email saying, "I show up around 10 o'clock." So, when this dies out. And then 2:30 they started closing city offices. City council closed first. Larry said go home. Then the city clerk's office shut down. So about the only ones that are open are the city attorney, the mayor, and city administrator inside City Hall. But even some of the closed offices, of course, the managers are still there. And they've gotten, from what I've gathered, well over 1,000 calls. Most of them angry, saying, why are you doing this? This is not what I want to see.
Yeah.
Some of the employees are taking a lot of abuse and profanities and such. So
that's just because in Atlanta, they negotiated with the mayor, and they're still there. Right. And they're going to be there until November 7th when the Atlanta City Council takes up the matter. So, I mean, they've had some, perturbations, but anything like this.
Right.
But all the parties are talking to each other, and it's open dialogue. Right. Here, it seems like it's not,
Yeah, and here, I think part of what broke down was when they issued the first notice that hardened everybody's position. At that point, they didn't want to talk or negotiate. And it was interesting because they had an information table. The most popular thing on it was the Oscar Grant Daily Digest. So today would have been day 13 of that digest. And the least popular thing was the city administrator's notices that he's piled color-coded just in there.
Right.
So, they got posted, people came and tore them down.
All over here, right there. Yeah.
But one of my favorite lines out of this is one of the librarians who was here, had brought literature, library hours, Wi-Fi, all that. And she said, things are bad when librarians start concerned.
Yeah. I saw that. I was cracking up.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. Excuse me. That was pretty funny to me.
But a third of the literature table was literally information about city services. The county came in, 211.org came in. There was all sorts of information, but people really weren't all that interested in it. And so ultimately, they ended up with a whole bunch of piles of paper that nobody knew what to do with. And that's what started this whole mess, the piles. Once people started bringing their dogs and cats.
Oh, over here?
And this morning you can see there were cans and cans of fancy cheese, cat food, and bags of dog kibble, and chewed up bones and all that. And you could see what the city was talking about in terms of the garbage, the litter.
Yeah, and all that. Anybody find any condoms or anything?
Yes.
Wow.
Here's the irony. The first couple of days they were having these meetings, they were saying that we need condoms and all of that. And somebody asked me, said, somebody can donate them? I said, walk into City Hall, ask for Marshall Martin.
Yeah.
He has 40,000 of them. But
I didn't know that. Really?
They're filling up the press room.
Condoms?
Yeah. What she did was...
Wait, condoms?
Condoms. Boxes and boxes.
40,000 condoms?
She had piles and piles.
Wait a minute. That's hilarious.
All shapes, colors, sizes.
Were they ribbed?
That I don't know. But the funny thing about it was, they got a grant using tax money. They bought these. They were handing them out, and she had all this stuff stacked up in the mayor's office under Dellum, and it was stacked
For
up
what?
Well, it was a giveaway. You know.
Oh,
for,
condom. Right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Okay.
But what they ended up doing was they stacked the stuff so high and closed the fire sprinklers. The fire alarm went off.
Oh, jeez.
So she was told to get rid of the stuff. And nobody in City Hall would take responsibility for who gave her permission to use the press conference. But, you know, they just talk about our newspapers were a fire hazard. This was 100 times as much floor-to-ceiling boxes. And that finally got killed.
Oh, man. Hey, so Sanjiv, how can people find your work?
Easiest thing, I'm very soon going to be on the web.
Yay! Wait, folks, this is a milestone to get him on the web. I'm serious.
Give me a couple weeks. But in the meantime, they can send me an email at fixoakland@aol.com.
Done. Hey, thanks for your work. Okay, thanks a lot. Great to see you, my man.
All right.
Cool, yeah, thanks.